Most of us up here that I'm friends with are far away from our family, right? So you have this tight-knit group, this family that you create up here. You know, last time I drank your coffee, I went through 2 razors getting that hair off my chest.
It's good, isn't it?
Smooth.
This is UPS pilot Beth Walker and her neighbor, Chuck Hornberger.
No, don't answer that.
They've been neighbors for 15 years now and have forged quite a unique relationship.
He's a curmudgeon until you talk to him for about 20 seconds, and then he melts.
Chuck. He's kind of your cantankerous old neighbor, the grouchy guy who lives next door. Pretty tough on the outside, but really he's a big soft guy on the inside.
You might say Chuck's a little old school. A World War II Navy veteran, he and his late wife Sarah came to Alaska in 1963 and made a name for themselves as true pioneers.
Both he and Sarah are just a who's who of Alaska's past. They're the most legendary by far.
Beth and roommate Allyson met the Hornburgers when they moved into a house just 3 minutes from work. And that marked the beginning of their special friendship. After a time, Chuck's wife's health began to fail, and she had to move into the Pioneer Home, an assisted living facility. At that point, things got very difficult for Chuck financially.
Beth had told me years ago that if Mom and Dad ever wanted to sell the house, that she wanted first dibs on it. And so I went through the finances, and it was costing $6,000 a month to keep Mom in the Pioneer Home.
Beth bought the house on one condition.
He said, well, if you bought the house, could I stay? And I said, I don't need the house, I need the guy in it. Then he did tear up and he gave me a hug, and I said, well, I guess we got a deal.
No handshakes on that deal, just hugs. Chuck became a renter and covered the small repair expenses, while Beth agreed to cover any major repairs. You might think that's the end of a great story, but no good deed goes unpunished.
At 8:29 this morning, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake hit 10 miles north of Anchorage, Alaska, causing severe damage to buildings and highways.
This one just smacked the house so hard, and it was really loud. Things falling, things breaking. The first thing that we did was check on Chuck.
We did knock and ring the doorbell, and it took him a long, long time to answer.
Well, when it hit, I was sitting on the can upstairs, and it really shook me off.
There's never an opportune time for an earthquake, but all kidding aside, the reality of the extensive damage hit Beth pretty hard.
My house from that side of the house to this side had shifted 5 inches, and Chuck's was 6.5. Things were becoming very apparent that there were much, much bigger issues than I could see.
To make matters worse, there was no insurance coverage for earthquakes. And thanks to Beth's friendly rental agreement, all repair costs, including Chuck's house, were on her.
You realize there's nothing that solves a parent with dementia. There's nothing that solves a tragic death too soon. You can't fix that. This is all fixable. I realized that while I really didn't want the house, I really wanted what was inside. And it meant so much to me to keep him as a neighbor. And when it really boils down to life, right, everything else is just material. It's the relationships and the people. So it was worth it all to keep him as a neighbor.
Those two were wonderful.
They're just great neighbors.